Good evening, family. I am again with the great Dr. Joe and his wife, Naasira Ageela. Tonight we'll be having some
Yes.
wonderful discussions about relationship, health, and spirituality. Dr. Joe will be introducing his lovely wife, Dr. Naasira, because she have a lot of accolades, a lot of information, a lot of background knowledge. So he will introduce his wife to the community. Dr. Joe, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. First of all, I'd like to extend a lot of love to you, brother, for allowing us to come on so that we can give out some information. And also, we receive because you can't give without receiving. And we let everyone know up front, this comes from our many decades of research and experience, but there's more to learn. So please do your own research. Please do that. Now, with that said, I'd like to say that yes, I am Dr. Gregory Joe Bledsoe, but I'm affectionately known as Dr. Joe. Um, my wife and I were from the United States, if you haven't picked the accent. And we've lived in the Gambia for 10 years now. We've written 3 books on health and nutrition, and 2 are current bestsellers. One in the United on Amazon is an informative guide for the melanated people of color. And in the UK, that book is Eat, what is that?
Spicy, tasty.
Spicy, Tasty Vegan, an informative guide to healthy living.
Yeah.
Now, the other, which is a kitchen companion, is
Yeah.
Eat Your Way to a Healthy Life. So, being that said, my wife, she's the one with the background. So, I have to read this. Okay. Mama Naasira Ageela, we call her Mama Naasira, they call her Mama Africa here, is a native San Franciscan. She graduated from the City College of San Francisco with an associate arts degree from the Library Technical Department and has a BA from the College of California. She is a mother of 3 sons, and they're healthy and intelligent. She's been married over 40 years. She's a noted vegan chef, health advocate, and entrepreneur with over 50 years of cooking experience and catering. She's been on a plant-based diet for and lifestyle for over 40 years and vegan for, I guess, about 27. Now, many consider her, including myself, as the best vegan chef in the world. It's Mama Naasira.
Well, thank you, lovely. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Lovely.
Okay, that's really good. Yeah. So I can actually introduce my husband, and I have it written. Okay, my lovely husband, Gregory Joe Bledsoe. We call him Dr. Joe. And that's because his children called him Dr. Joe in the schools. He is a law school graduate of Hastings. He's a former educator and a teacher for more than 30 years. Also, a STEPS for Peace Award recipient. He's a writer, a producer, and performer of music, providing positive lyrics, especially in the schools when he would teach the children his lyrics of his music. He would use it in the class, such as watch the things you say and do the things that are the right way to live, and more. Correct? Uh, he's a health advocate. He's also a founder and director of the Oakland Street Peace Festival. That is the year that I had met him when he was handing out flyers in Whole Foods. And it was actually the third time that I had met him, and we both were married at the time. And I told him I was divorced. And trust me, I could never get away from this man.
Oh, no, not at all.
Because when I shopped, I had all these vegetables and fruits and everything, and he was just so amazed And he's very well known in Oakland because he has been doing so many, well, how can I say, events, music, and all the different churches. And so, therefore, there were plenty women in his life. But because he came to my house after I think a radio interview, and it was 4 a.m. in the morning, and he called me, and I had all these wonderful dishes on the and vegetables I had chopped up, and I was stir frying for 2 hours, and he sat there and tasted everything.
Love was in the air.
So anyway, we've been in the Gambia nearly 10 years, and we have actually, when we connected, I had a brand new car. He was impressed with that. And I think I had it was a new car, you know how those cars move real quickly. And he felt like he needed to drive me. And he drove me everywhere for 12 years. And of course, I drove myself to work. But yeah, we have been catering. He was the one that chopped everything, all the vegetables on Friday nights, and we had one of his students that would come in the evenings and help with the chopping. And Saturday we would cook everything. And the reason why we were doing that is because when you work and you go to school, and I have been doing this for around 50 years, you can prepare the food on Sunday and have food for the week. And that was the
Yeah.
way we did it, and we taught our people that.
Now, that's also in our book, and Mama Naasira put in there how to prepare for the week, because there are many people that try to be vegans or vegetarians, and they relapse because they don't have a system. Mama's system is proven, it works.
Yeah, it really works. And it's because I had gotten sick with the hepatitis, and I had to start taking less classes because I had to make time to prepare food. And
Okay.
that's the way I've taken care of myself. I'll be 72 next week.
You
So
look
I'm
well.
very grateful. And yeah, thank you so much. The food, all the different supplements, and yeah, so we've been helping people for many years, and we want to continue the journey.
Well, I will be 74, and I can blame it on her. All that good, healthy food and drinks and things. But there's a downside. Come on, you guys. I have to meet younger friends. But, I work for food. I have no problem with that. She dresses me so I don't embarrass her. And I'm the happiest guy in heaven.
But
Yeah,
Dr.
we're
Joe,
very very,
you look
very
well also,
happy
Dr.
couple.
Joe. That's very
Yeah,
good.
doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I
Yeah.
was the
Even
one that grew his locks.
my daughter was saying, they look well for 70, for 71, and one of them 74. She was saying, you look very well.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
That's a compliment.
But they were saying black don't crack anyhow.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
true.
good black, don't
Good
crack.
black. That's right.
Good. Yeah.
So we are ever so grateful. And I think a lot of that, not just with the food you put in, but also your spiritual growth. Because as you begin to become more aligned with your higher self, you sort of radiate a certain energy. It's like being a melanated person. We are able to vibrate more of the energy as
Mm,
well as to perceive it. So some of that is what some of the people see, that electromagnetic energy.
yes.
That's
Mm,
right.
yeah.
Yes, yes,
So, what a lovely way to start talking about
yes,
relationships,
yes.
because the the mood is set to start the
Mhm.
conversation on relationships. So
Mm-hmm.
we can start. Today, you find that there's a lot of problems with relationship, and I think Dr. Joe is in the position to share with the community his experience and to show people a way in which they could deal with relationship, and his his lovely wife, Dr. Naasira. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, I'd just like to draw a picture. If you're looking at having a relationship, it's like a triangle with three sides. Number one, you have to love yourself, because if you're broken, you're going to come into a relationship that's broken. So at least if you're working on getting better, it has a lot to say. So one of the things we look at is, number one, you have to love yourself, okay? And if you are going to be with someone, be friends. I mean, the joy you have with a friend,
That's right.
the experiences you have with your friend,
That's right.
and with your friend is someone that you learn to communicate with. Now, there are certain rules with communicating, and if you don't learn them, then you can end up crying in your beer and lonely, okay? Number one, when someone says something to you, you respond, you don't react. And by responding, you can flow and let them know that when you said that, this is the way it made me feel, rather than putting them on the defensive, making them feel less than what they truly are. So we look at, if you're friends, if you can communicate and compliment each other, that's so important. Go out of your way to compliment each other. And it's just like we spoke the other day about the healthy, wealthy, and wise, and gratitude. The more that you give thanks for what you have, the more you're given to be thankful for. So it's the same with the person you're with. The more you compliment them, the more positive things you see that are brought out and developed. Now, trust. Oh, baby, you want to talk about the trust?
Well, trust is very, very important. Um, I've had, situations, where I trust, and they weren't quite the same in trusting back. But with my husband, I've trusted him 100%. It was something about when we first connected. Um, we were together working on this Oakland Street Peace Festival for the summer. And after that was over, I spent a lot of time in my house and back and forth in his house. So the first day of school, I was getting ready to go home so I could get ready for my job in the library. Well, he left me there in his house. I said, "Well, he leaving me in this house?" And we're just beginning to know each other. But it's something about me that he trusted, because I'm a giving person. Um, I don't, material is not really important to me, because I came up in a home where there was a certain amount of money, as my father was a carpenter in both Alaska and San Francisco. So, I had a lot of material things, but the home was challenged with a lot of trauma. My father was born in 1910, and he came up in some very, very difficult times. Hardcore carpenter, and he would lash out real quickly. And I learned from that, to change that. I went through some abuse because I would also fight back. That was that made it worse, because he was a cancer, and he felt like in this household, you either go with the situation or move on. And if you don't like me, you don't like my money. He was like that. So I had to go through it, and my mother was the type of woman. She was a stay-home mom, and she was the old-fashioned way. She would go along with, whatever he did. But then over the years, I learned to turn that around in my life. I became more loving, more kind. Although when I eventually married and had children, some of those behaviors too would appear while raising my children. And there was a time that I apologized to them as adults. I said, if I was, very harsh mom, could you find it in your heart to forgive me?
As they work through their trauma.
And, they did. My oldest son is 47. He'll be 48. And the other one is just turned 46, the 22nd of December, Capricorn. The other one's a Pisces, the 17th of March. And the youngest one is the 25th of March, but he's an Aries. And he's the most calm of all out of the three. Just such a wonderful child. He came like a little later. And so I had an opportunity to be a different mom to him than it was with the other two.
Yes.
So it's a process of learning. And I'll tell you more about my chefs, young people here, and how in the almost 10 years, how I've had to change and not take things so seriously. Being a Capricorn, it's almost like the end of the world sometimes. What? And I have to catch that. So trust is very important.
Now, with trust, I try to make it easy on myself. Number one, always tell the truth. If you tell the truth, then you don't have to try to remember what lie you told. And, that can be stressful in and of itself. And the other thing is that if you are trustworthy, see, I have a background of being a former Boy Scout, and my father was a Scoutmaster. So one of the things we learned was that certain things were important, and that was to be in a position where a person can trust you and you can trust them. That way they got your back and you got their back. And if you got backing, you can do some incredible things. My wife and I, we've seen some things and experienced some things that had we been by ourselves, it would have been different. I mean, everything from shape shifting, seeing, oh my goodness, we've had a so-called male person who I was in the car getting ready to make a left-hand turn, and she bent over, and all the mail fell out of her back, and she was out of her bag, and she just straight like that. So I pulled over and parked, and I went back. I said, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And she just straightened up as if she had been turned on again, picked up the mail, and then started putting it back in. I said, "Woohoo!" Now, if I hadn't had my wife,
Right.
someone that I could trust with me, then, it may have been a different story. And along with trust, let's go, because I'm going to finish up the triangle. You should have some common goals, something that you both are working on together. And that way, when you work together on something, it creates a certain synergy, and a closeness, because you have more of an association. You're working on something together. And with that comes shared responsibility. And let's be quite clear. It's never 50-50. It can't be, because we're different. And that is a segue to our chapter 5, which is the difference between men and women. And this will help your understanding, hopefully. But let's start from the beginning. In chapter 5, it's entitled, Most Men Are Slow. And most men are slow. What are you talking about, Dr. Joe? Well, what I mean by that is it's like an attitude that I categorize as, just being unaware or unconscious and disconnected from the appreciation of the values of another's perspective. In other words, you're slow. You can't see what other people see at the time. That's your path to your enlightenment. But at this point, you're slow. It takes about 50 years before the average man begins to mature. Now, I said average because in this audience, you got a lot of above average people. So take that into play. But some of us are so slow and arrogant that we actually feel that a woman can't tell me nothing. Okay, all right. But let's look at some things. Number one, a female baby and a male baby, well, more male babies going to die the first year than female babies. There are more females that live over the age of 100 than there are men. Uh, Women, they're incredible. They can lower their blood pressure a lot quicker than we can. And this comes into play later because some of us men, we just don't understand things yet. Uh, and that is that a woman's brain is 25% heavier than ours. So we're talking about the cerebral cortex, those nerve endings that deal with multitasking. We've seen them. We see women doing this zooming like they got on Superman capes, okay? Multitasking, Superwoman. Also, with that, they also can, their pain threshold is a lot higher than ours. We've all witnessed that. We get a splinter in our finger, and it's like the world coming to an end, okay? But if we men had to have the experience of menstrual cycles and pain and childbirth, I think the world would look a little different. So in terms of pain. Now, a woman also can acquire languages faster and more comprehensively than we can. So you put that together with her being able to lower her blood pressure quicker than we. Don't argue with her because they don't fight fair. They don't fight fair. They will come up with something that don't even seem to relate to it. And then as you're trying to make logic out of it, boom, the blood pressure goes down.
And that's your experience.
And then they say, why are you talking so loud? You don't have to be so upset. Calm down. You may have a heart attack or stroke. I mean, come on now. Now, it's only because of the differences we don't quite understand. And see, we men, we've been programmed, not along in America especially, not only that Santa Claus, would come every year and the reindeer and the Easter egg bunny laying chocolate eggs and the white man being God. We were taught that we were superior to a woman. And this is just part of it to show you that, yeah, we may be able to physically lift some things and carry it for a short distance, relatively, it's all relative. But at the end of the day, that's where any superiority begins and ends. So I would advise any man, please ask those women, those females in your life that have taken time to lead and guide you, thank them. Because it's not easy dealing with somebody slow, especially with somebody who's got a big ego. But what I would suggest is for you women to kind of embrace the fact that in America, a lot of the women, they end up with the men and they may not be the one that's going to be with them forever because it's like seasons change and people are in your life for a reason and season. It's very rare that two people go off the cliff together, okay, and end it. Yeah. So with true love and being friends and having that communication, not only do you enjoy each other to the depths for the time that you have, but you also try to plan a common goal for if one of you is no longer with you, then they can go on and live as happily ever after with your blessings too.
Yes, well, also I wanted to piggyback on when he's one of the first men that, to me, in my 50 years of, because I used to be really close to men friends, he is good about saying that women are the ones that rule everything. Big Mama, because Big Mama has been the one that owned the land. Of course, men came in and they took the land from us. And now I'm glad we're to that point where we're going to get our land back. But I do know that women were first on the planet, and and I know not a lot of people are aware of that. But I can, I've studied that and I've learned and heard that since we are the ones that first, well, we are the ones that educated the men. And I have three sons and no daughters. And that was one of the things that I've learned about men. If you have a good mother, that can give you a good foundation, it can help you to work along with a woman. It's not to say that all of the children will be that way, but you have that foundation and it's up to them. I know for me, I have been married 3 times, and I think it's because I prepare food. Men like food.
Amen.
And then if a woman can cook, that definitely makes a difference in the relationship. I
100%.
remember when after I had gotten ill, I could not go to a party unless I would go home and make a meal to eat. So if I had a male friend, he would go to the house with me while I cooked the food up real quickly, and we would go back to the party. Everybody else is, wasted pretty much. And because of the food, healthy food, we're able to carry out the party until after 3 years of it, I got tired of it. And I said, this is not my life. I decided that I wanted to eventually have a family. After working 7 years before I had children, attending college and living alone, and learning a lot about myself, because I came from a family of 6 children. And I assisted my mother with the last 3 because she had polio. And so therefore, I had to do a lot of the heavy lifting. And I believe I was born to do that because I'm still I'm still working and helping people, and I enjoy it.
Well,
So
she's incredible. Now, just to add to what Mama Naasira said, my mama told me that, boy, these women out here, these guys, they ain't learned nothing. And look, you get that girl you want. If electric can open a break, both of y'all gonna starve to death. So, boy, you better learn how to cook. You better learn how to clean. You better learn how to do all the things you need to learn how to do. And don't be dependent on the women, because these women ain't like us. Okay? And, Mama was right. And as a result of that, part of my relationship is so solid because my mama taught me we're talking about shared responsibilities now. She taught me how to clean a house, how to do the toilet, how to hang out, clean the diapers, how to clean the baby, all of those, how to cook, sew, and they just come hand in glove if you're looking at a relationship and shared responsibility. Because the woman won't always be able to do what she does. She may be having a baby, and you may have to step in. And God forbid if you can't cook, those poor babies be like my stepfather. My mama would go to have a baby or whatever. We knew what we were getting. He called it shit on a shango. And you know what that is? That's just cream tuna on toast. We knew it was coming, But anyway, that's just to let you know it's good for you as a man to take responsibility and actually do what you can. Don't just leave them to do all the washing. Get in there and share.
that's right.
Because that brings about more of a feeling, it brings about more love because you're sharing the energy.
Yeah, and also my husband, he has quite a few gifts and responsibilities, and one is writing, his music. So that means the writing that I've done in my life, I pretty much turned it over to him so that I can do all the other things, the house things, preparing the food and, teaching the students. And it's just a really wonderful balance. And then with me being a Capricorn and Capricorn, he's Cancer, that means we're very compatible, and there's a balance. And that's why we've been together close to 24 years. And yeah, I've known him about 25 years, because when we first met, I was working in the library, and he came there, and we both were married, but it was something about the future, and I just really, I'm grateful that I have this man in my life, because I can depend on him a lot to do things. Because I've had two other husbands, I had to do everything. The second husband, I guess he had a bad life. He was a Muslim, and he, had kind of destroyed his health. And I remember when I would come up with the groceries, neighbor men's would have to come out and help me bring the groceries in, because he couldn't carry the groceries. So, and I kind of got used to that, doing all that. But then after the divorce, and I met Dr. Joe for the third time, it's just so amazing. When I first met him, he was what, 49, 50. He was running upstairs, carrying speakers up, and I'm like, wow, this is a big change in my life. And here I am in my 70s, and I do have a knee challenge, Capricorn with the joints. His Cancer, born in the summer, he still have the strong body to just really pick up things. And so I'm really, I feel sorry for some of the women that for whatever reason, they don't have the wonderful experience of the man that I have. And I believe it's because I don't mind doing my responsibilities. What is the word? From right now beyond, I put in more, because I feel that if I put in more, I would get more in the long run. He always tell me at times when he said that it's good to let a woman know how they really feel about you. He tells me he loved me, and he tells me I'm beautiful, and those things are important. I'm not asking for that, but it makes me feel good inside when he compliments me. And I tell him, I said, I don't really have that nature to say that all the time. He said, well, you're demonstrative in all the things that you do, so I don't have to say that all the time.
Well, I'd like to, first of all, as a show of appreciation, give a high five to her two husbands. And I'm glad they had the life they did, because they made me look good. Okay. So that being said, we'll move on to the other, and that is patience. Patience is very important. As I spoke earlier, that people and things come in your life to pass. Everything has come to pass. So be patient. When I met my wife, she was fond of saying, you used to say all I needed was just a little tweaking and I'll be just right. Well, when I saw her, that I saw tremendous possibilities, because that's the way it is with life. You have choices of different experiences. And the girl could cook. I am going to tell you right now, when I met her, I thought it was an angel. I did, man. I would come home and I'd go to sleep and I'd wake up and I'd have these incredible meals. Oh my God. And see, because I was a former Boy Scout, helping people across the street and doing good turns daily, and always trying to do the best I could this life. I felt that I made it. Oh my God, I made it. Okay. And it wasn't until later I really realized, well, I guess she's not an angel. She's just angelic. And I really love and appreciate her. But patience. Have patience with that person. Because when you begin to give love and show love to them, they're going to change. Everything must change. Yeah. And by you nurturing that, by showing appreciation, and by you sharing, you're going to, look, I don't want to give it away, but in her chapter, she has one on how to grow your man. Okay? So some of this will be in the upcoming book, but I ain't going to give too much of it away. But basically, you look in terms of forgiveness. Just like you can forgive yourself, you can forgive them. And it's important that you give them room to grow. Give them room to grow.
And he did. He really gave me room. I remember there was a time that before we married and lived together, I was always thinking about a certain lady that was living in the same complex. And I don't know, one day I went off and I must have talked and talked. This was before he gone to work. He didn't say one word. I was talking. Do you remember that time?
Well,
I was talking, I wasn't yelling. I was just telling him that he should do this and he should be this way. And he didn't say anything. But you know what he did? He measured that. So if I come out like that, he stops it immediately. He said, we are not going there. So I've learned to, I would go off. And I thought to myself, I said, you didn't leave me. You didn't, you had a lot of other ladies and you accepted that side of me.
But they couldn't cook like you.
And that was a Libra. I have a Libra rising. So sometimes that Libra, that scale goes somewhere that is.
Well, being a double cancer rules the breast and the stomach. So, that's food is very important to me. So I don't care how good, man, I can look back at all them fine women. I mean, built like a brick, whole bunch of them. But at the end of the day, 50 years later, you look and see them stroked out, gone, all kind of things, they don't even know who they are. I'm really happy, thankful, and grateful, for my choice. And look, I did not get with her until I was older in life, as I said, in terms of maturity. There were a lot of beautiful women that allowed me to get to where I am now. And for most of them, I thanked them and apologized for me being slow. And I'm grateful they put up with me. And if I could have known better, I probably wouldn't be with somebody else. But, that's part of our path to our own growth and development. So all you women out there in my life, I love you. I'm not going to stop loving none of you because it's unconditional love. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow. Yeah. Yes, it's been a journey in this path, and it's been food. It's been very, very important because it seems as though the more we have been together with the food, he's eating less. And I have to say, you have to eat more food. It's important. You have to keep the bowels moving. If you don't eat, then your bowels can't move. Mm-hmm. And of course, another thing too, I'll bring out, our teeth are different. Mm-hmm. There was a time you could just eat anything, like watching movies. We used to eat popcorn.
Holy dental costs.
So no more popcorn today. So we have to create other things that are healthier to watch, the movies. And when we go back to the States, no more taking popcorn to the theaters.
But she is the smoothie queen, okay?
The smoothies.
So yeah. I'm in good hands. Now, the other thing, there are just two more we want to point out. The other is keep others out of your affairs. Mm-hmm. Okay? I mean,
was the one that told you about that
one. Of course, you know better.
Yeah.
And I think most of you don't have to use much of an imagination. I think in our area, we call it people being nosy. Nosy. Just get your nose out of our stuff. We will be able to work it out. Yeah, we're going to have mistakes. And from your vantage point or perspective, it may look this or that way, but we've gotten together to work it out. And that's how it seems to grow, by you working things out. Mm-hmm. If everything was perfect and hunky-dory, then you couldn't appreciate the good times.
That's right. So I had mentioned to my husband, there was times in my life in relationship, I'll go out and tell my friends because you didn't have anybody to talk to. And it turns on you when you do that. So I had to really learn strategically, just be patient with yourself and it'll all work out. Other people cannot help you. And if they don't have a really good interest in you or the person you're married to or with, they're not going to help it. They'll make it worse. And some will go back and tell,
Mm.
so you have to be really mindful when you're talking about your relationship or what goes on in your home.
And lastly, me time.
Hmm.
Me time. It is very important that you carve out time for yourself.
And
It's
don't we do that?
Yes, we do. It's great and wonderful. It's great and wonderful
Yeah.
that you can share your life with someone. But remember, that's what you're doing. You're sharing part of your life. You are the one that have to be complete. They cannot share you. You got to take time to go within and
Hmm.
align yourself with your higher self and do it quite often, whichever way turns you on, because we're here different folks and we different do different things. For some folks it's hugging a tree,
Yeah.
for somebody else it's playing their guitar or their harmonica. For someone else it's standing on their head. Whatever it is that blows up your skirt, you make sure that you take that time allocated for you, and you're able to regenerate and become more empowered so you can bring back more to the relationship.
And also for me, I notice that I'm in the kitchen pretty much from now until 2 o'clock a.m. He's asleep. So I have a really good time with my YouTube. I'm a YouTuber. I don't watch television. Certain people I like to listen to. I have an opportunity to listen. And then if I want to do music while I'm washing, sometimes I'm in the kitchen 4 hours just to get the basic things done because I'm into just reflecting on what I'm listening to and even just my life. But then when he wakes up around 2 o'clock, I'm ready to go to bed. Then he start talking, so he kind of carves into my time. But I don't complain
I'll work on that,
because
baby.
I believe that
I'll work on
it's
that,
very
baby.
important. It's very important to allow the person to do what he feels. And I feel like I'm a woman and I take good care of myself. If I only sleep 4 or 5 hours, so be it. And
Now,
that's what I am.
all of these that we talked about are wrapped around the big mother of them all, and that is called compromise. Can I say it again? Compromise. Can the
Compromise.
church say amen?
Amen.
Compromise.
Compromise.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, now the second part of our triangle, this is what we're putting together here, has to do with nutrition. And I'll let Mama start off with
Go
telling us
ahead.
why nutrition is so good.
You can
What,
tell us what you think about it.
what do I think about? Well, I
Yes.
think about in terms of relationship.
Hmm.
If you
Yeah.
aren't eating right, you can't feel good. If
Hmm.
your stomach's all big and you can't see, what you used to looking for. If, you got gas and your feet hurt, and you got that Charlie horse that keeps coming, and
Too much
it's kind of,
starch.
and then you got that twitch in your eye, and then your nose is running, and your teeth hurt. It's kind of hard to be romantic.
Yes. Yeah, and that is interesting because I changed my, excuse me, I had changed my way of eating in my 40s because I grew up eating cakes, and they weren't just any kind of cakes. These were cakes, with blackberry jam mixed in the batter with spices like nutmeg, cinnamon, and that was one particular cake. And then we had the plain cake with the really nice coconut on it. So pies, all of that we had. So I still like desserts. But I learned when I would go to like parties on the job, I wouldn't just have one slice of cake. I would have two. And after a period of time, I started noticing there was more gas. you know,
Mm.
and I think it's because my liver was damaged when I was younger. So I can tell those things that happen to us when we're younger, it comes back. So I've learned to change my eating, and that's when I stopped eating meats. I stopped eating, the dairies, and started bringing in more the beans and all the vegetables and being creative. Whereas I really love lasagnas, but that was with the beef. So I ended up changing it to making vegetables with sunflower seeds and what is it, and olives with beets and carrots and parsley, coriander, all that in there with all the different spices. A lot of Indian spices is what I've been introduced over the last 50 years. And with lime, it comes out just like a meat. So I started, that with the lasagnas and making my cheese out of cashews and then putting vegetables in it and mix it up like that in the blender and cook it. And
Mm.
then I take my stir fry with all my stir fry vegetables and I layer it with that. And then I'll make my own homemade tomato sauce. And at times we'll make another white sauce um, and raw vegetables on top. So that's why my husband, when he woke up, I was creating this to prepare it for my customers. Because if you introducing the vegan lifestyles, you have to do a variety. For instance, when we have people that come to our house, we have at least 9 to 10 different dishes, so that when they leave, they feel satiated and full. And a lot of people as vegans, they don't know that. You have to spend the time in that kitchen so that you can not have to eat out as much.
Mm. Mm.
And I don't eat out. And my children, they grew up not eating out, only for special occasions. And they told me when they had the friends, lady friends, they said that their mothers didn't cook,
Mm.
because the time changed around the 80s and 90s, where it wasn't like for us in the 50s and 60s, where, a restaurant was something that you only did occasionally. And these
Yes.
children were eating out often, McDonald's. But me, I had to eat healthy. So they came up eating healthy, and they're more healthier than most of their friends because I prepared the food for them the way I did it for myself.
And as I said earlier, because of that background, they're all geniuses. They're
They're really
absolutely amazing.
intelligent.
I'm so proud of them and what they're doing. It's just amazing what you can do when you're watching what your children eat and helping them along the way. Now, when we look at relationships, I think it's important that since most of the people on the planet are people of color, and our book is Spicy Tasty Vegan Cuisine, an informative health guide for the
Melanated
melanated people
people
of
of color.
color. I think we should touch on that and then bring into why we must eat different than what we've been eating. Number one, there are many different physiological differences between a person that is melanin dominant and recessive. Now, the difference between everybody's got melanin. Some of us have more, that's considered dominant. Some of us have less, like your Europeans that have less, and that's that pigmentation that gives us our color. So you see, it's so much more than that. But melanin dominant people, we have more melanin sites, and that is places where it produces the melanin. And some say it's 12 sites for the melanin dominant to one. That was Dr. Delbert Blair. And Alila Africa say it's 12 to 7. But at any rate, we have more than those others. Um, the Europeans, they have more sulfur in the middle of their melanin cell, where we, melanin dominant, we have selenium. And selenium, that helps to keep you calm and cool. Sulfur, well, it's kind of, you know, I know, pungent. Um, Now, we have more, in addition to having more selenium, they have more ammonium salt in their body than we. So that keeps them warm all the time. That is why we have to suffer being in offices where it's cold to us, but it's not to them. I was like shocked and astonished when in America we have the what are those polar bear clubs, bear, where in the middle of the winter, they armed in just their swimming gear, trunks, they jump in the water that has ice in it. Okay, if you were a melanated person, you could probably do that because our melanin allows us to really change and adapt. But for the average one of us, come on now, okay? So, and you can tell that sulfur, ammonia salt, because when they get wet, they give off that smell. Our nervous system is more, let's see, it's more efficient than theirs, and it's our superficial. That's the outside. In other words, we have more blood vessels than they have. So there's a blessing, but at the other time, it's sunshine shadow, because if we have more blood vessels, if we are eating a lot of concentrated fats and proteins, they can block the flow of those vessels. And if you don't get a flow of blood going to your brain, hello, stroked out, a heart attack, okay? So that's, that's part of the way it is. It's like that. And with our melanin, when it fuses with our muscles and nerves, we got a faster kickback message that goes to our brain. So that allows us to be able to jump faster and jump higher than most of those other folks because of that. Now, with the melanin, we are able, the iris and the melanin in our eye, we are able to see the full colors of color, the color within the color. The same with the melanin in our ears, so we can hear the sound within the sound. That's why we're the musicians that we are, okay? And our taste buds, the melanin, it gives us that full flavor of the food. So you know who the best cooks, the best chefs. And we have our melanin that stimulates an enzyme that allows us to eat our food using less energy. And that's very important because it's all about energy. You only have so much. When you use it up, game's over. Okay. There are other things. Our melanin is considered like a humanizing chemical because it makes us more intelligent. We're able to store more energy with it. We're more compassionate. We're more psychic. And it seems like we have more fun. There are other things, and all of that is in our book, but just giving you that background gives you an opportunity to see that if we are so different from the Europeans, should we be eating the same type of diet? And there's a resonating no because of the difference. Mama Naasira?
Oh, yes.